You know what's interesting about UPSC? Two aspirants can read the same newspaper, spend the same amount of time, and yet one scores much higher than the other. The difference isn't in how much they read, it's in what they notice. Welcome back to Can UPSC Ask This, the series where we do not just discuss the current affairs, we uncover the concepts behind them. If you have landed directly on episode 3, I would recommend watching episodes 1 and 2 first. Attempt the questions without looking up the answers, think like an examiner, and then come back to this episode. And if you have already attempted the questions from episode 2, stay with me till the very end. We'll reveal all 3 answers, discuss the logic behind them, and see whether you managed to crack the examiner's thought process. Now, without wasting any more time, let's dive into today's first story. News number 1. With reference to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act FCRA, consider the following statements. The objective of FCRA is to regulate the acceptance and utilization of foreign contributions by these certain individuals and organizations. Under FCRA, foreign contributions can be accepted without any registration if they are meant for religious or charitable purposes. Suspension or cancellation of FCRA registration does not necessarily imply that an organization has committed a criminal offense. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? This isn't just about a one bill. It's about understanding how India regulates foreign funding and why such a law exists in the first place. Why is FCRA back in the news? Recently, the government clarified certain provisions of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2026 after concerns were raised regarding a new designated authority. A new designated authority that would manage the assets created using foreign contributions if an NGO's or FCRA registration is suspended, cancelled, or hasn't been renewed. Okay, at first glance, this sounds like a legal amendment, but for UPSC, this is a real topic of FCRA. Let's understand that. Imagine you are running an NGO in India and an organization based in another country wants to donate some money for education, for healthcare, for social welfare. Okay. Now, should anyone be allowed to receive the foreign money without any regulation? The government says no. That's where the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act or the FCRA comes in. The objective is not to stop the foreign funding, but to regulate how foreign contributions are received and utilized, ensuring they do not adversely affect India's sovereignty, democratic institutions, or public interest. Now, today's amendment focuses on what happens to the assets created using the foreign funds if an organization's FCRA registration is suspended or cancelled. The proposed designated authority would temporarily manage those assets. Okay, the government has clarified that places of worship retain their religious character, and if an organization's registration is restored, the assets are also restored. Another important safeguard is that the authority's orders can be challenged before the district judge, ensuring judicial oversight. One more thing many students miss. Not every FCRA cancellation is because of illegal activity. Sometimes registrations are cancelled for administrative reasons or for failure in filing the annual returns, okay, or maintaining the prescribed bank account, etc. That's why you should avoid assuming that cancellation automatically means criminal wrongdoing. Today's news is therefore less about politics and more about understanding how India balances foreign funding with regulatory oversight. Now, here's the examiner's hint. Whenever a regulatory law appears in the news, do not just memorize the amendment alone. Ask yourself why this law exists and then what problem does it solve, or which authority implements it, or what are the safeguards if someone tries to misuse it. That's exactly how UPSC frames the conceptual questions. Now go back and read the question once again. Has your understanding changed? Comment your answers below. We'll discuss today's answers in the next episode. Here comes news number 2. With reference to the geographical indications, consider the following statements. A geographical indication identifies a product whose quality, reputation, or other characteristics are essentially attributable to its geographical origin. A GI tag grants the exclusive right to manufacture the product only to the government. Agricultural products, handicrafts, and manufactured goods can all receive a GI tag in India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Don't answer just yet. Today's news isn't really about turmeric, it's about something much bigger: how geography itself can become an economic advantage. So, why is turmeric making the headlines today? The government has launched Mission Golden Spice, a 175.45 crore rupees initiative to strengthen the entire value chain of the Lakadong turmeric from Meghalaya. The mission aims to improve the processing, market access, farmer incomes, and expand the cultivation over the next 5 years. Now, if you're preparing for UPSC, do not memorize the budget or the targets. Instead, ask yourself, why is Lakadong turmeric so special? The answer lies in two words: geographical and indication. Geographical indication. Lakadong turmeric has received a GI tag because its unique qualities are closely linked to the geographical conditions of Meghalaya. One of its biggest strengths is its exceptionally high curcumin content, ranging from 7% to 10%. Okay, which is significantly higher than the ordinary turmeric varieties. This is due to the region's unique soil, climate, and traditional cultivation processes. Now let's understand what is a geographical indication. A GI tag or a GI is a sign used to identify products. Identify products that originate from a particular geographical region and possess qualities, characteristics, or reputation that are essentially linked to that place. Think of products like Darjeeling tea, Kanchipuram silk, Mysore sandalwood, or Pochampally ikat. Their value comes not just from the product itself, but also from where and how they are produced. Here's another misconception that UPSC likes to test. A GI tag does not mean only one company or government can produce that product. Okay, instead, it protects the rights of authorized producers from that geographical region, ensuring that people outside the region cannot misuse the name. Now, coming back to today's news, Mission Golden Spice. It is not just about increasing turmeric production. Its aim is to strengthen the entire value chain right from cultivation and processing to branding and marketing. Okay, and exports. The mission also focuses on better infrastructure, reducing the post-harvest loss, and supporting the farmers institution, with women playing a central role in the value chain. This is important because producing a high quality crop alone does not guarantee better incomes. Unless farmers have access to processing facilities, storage, branding, and marketing, they often fail to realize the full value of their produce. That's exactly what this mission is trying to address. So today's news isn't really about one variety of turmeric. It's about understanding GI tags, value chains, agricultural branding and markets, and rural development. All evergreen themes for UPSC. Examiner's hint: whenever a GI tagged product appears in the news, do not just memorize the state. Revise what exactly GI tag is, which law governs the registration in India, how is GI different from trademark, or can agricultural products, handicrafts, and manufactured goods all receive GI protection? That's where UPSC usually frames conceptual questions. Now go back and read the question once again. Did you notice the trap? Comment your answers below. Now let's quickly move to today's final story. News number 3. With reference to exoplanets, consider the following statements. An exoplanet is a planet that revolves around a star other than the Sun. Direct imaging is one of the methods used to discover the exoplanets. All exoplanets discovered so far lie within the Milky Way galaxy. Looks like a straightforward science question, but UPSC often combines astronomy with basic scientific concepts. Let's first understand today's news. So, why is astronomy in the news today? Astronomers have directly imaged an exoplanet called Beta Pictoris d, making it one of the few planets ever photographed directly. Now, instead of memorizing the planet's name, let's understand why this is considered such a remarkable achievement. First of all, what is an exoplanet? An exoplanet is simply a planet that revolves around a star other than our sun. Our solar system has 8 planets orbiting the sun, but the universe contains billions of stars and many of them have their own planetary systems. Those planets are called extrasolar planets or simply exoplanets. Now, here's the challenge: stars are incredibly bright. Planets, on the other hand, do not produce their own light, they only reflect the light of a parent star. So, imagine trying to photograph a tiny firefly flying there right next to a giant floodlight. That's exactly why direct imaging of exoplanets is so difficult. Most exoplanets are therefore discovered using the indirect methods. Okay, such as observing the slight dimming of the star, the parent star, when a planet passes in front of it, or detecting any tiny gravitational wobble caused by the planet. Direct imaging is much rarer because scientists need highly advanced telescopes and specialist instruments to block the overwhelming light from the parent star. That's what makes the discovery of Beta Pictoris significant. It demonstrates how rapidly astronomical observation techniques are improving. Now, here's the UPSC angle. Whenever space appears in the news, do not focus only on the latest mission or discovery. Revise the entire underlying concepts. What's the difference between a planet, a dwarf planet, an asteroid, a comet, and an exoplanet? How do astronomers detect distant celestial bodies? UPSC has repeatedly tested its fundamentals. Here's the examiner's hint. Whenever ISRO, NASA, or a space discovery is in news, revise solar system basics. Okay, planetary motions, exoplanets, detection methods, important telescopes, space observations. UPSC usually asks the concept, not the headline. Now revisit the question once again. Comment your answers in the comment section. We'll discuss today's answers in the next episode. Now, it's time to check how you performed in the last episode. Let's go through the answers. With reference to the vaccines, consider the following statements. Live attenuated vaccines contain weakened forms of pathogens capable of eliciting an immune system. Totally fine, no issues. A tetravalent vaccine is designed to provide protection against 4 different strains. Exactly, very good. Tetra means 4. It's correct. Live attenuated vaccines always require prior screening. No. As we discussed, Qdenga does not require any prior screening before vaccination. So if you marked option A, well done. Question number 2. With reference to the anti-defection law in India, consider the following statements. The anti-defection law was added to the constitution through the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Very good. The decision of the disqualification of a member under the 10th schedule is made by the Election Commission of India. Of course not. The power to decide the disqualification lies with the Speaker or Chairman of the House, not the Election Commission. We discussed it. Speaker or the Chairman. So, a merger of a political party is exempt from disqualification if at least 2/3 of the members of the legislature party agree to the merger. Totally fine. So, 1 and 3 are correct. So, many aspirants incorrectly choose option D because they assume the Election Commission decides everything related to the elections. That's the trap. The final question. With reference to the capital gains tax in India, consider the following statements. Long-term capital gains tax is levied only when a capital asset is sold after being held for a specific minimum period. True. Government securities are debt instruments issued by the government to borrow money from the public. Yeah, surely. Foreign portfolio investors can invest only in government securities and not in Indian equity market. That's wrong. They can, The foreign portfolio investors can invest in both the Indian equity markets and the debt instruments, including the government securities as well. So if you selected option A, your concepts are clear. That's all for today's episode of Can UPSC Ask This? Today we decoded 3 more important topics: FCRA and foreign funding regulations, Lakadong turmeric, GI tags, Mission Golden Spice, and the fascinating world of exoplanets through the discovery of Beta Pictoris D. Now it's your turn. Comment your answers for today's questions, and remember, do not just tell me the option, tell me why you chose it. If this series is helping you understand current affairs the way UPSC expects, do not forget to like the video, share it with your fellow members, fellow aspirants, and subscribe to Vidyarthee Education. I'll be back with 3 more important current affairs in the next episode. Until then, keep learning, stay curious, and keep thinking like an examiner. Goodbye.